Good day and welcome to Back the Truth, News and Commentary. I am Vernon Darby. Let's look at a story which I reported on in a previous broadcast. It is about a 71-year-old man, Leroy Smith, who was at the Sangster International Airport last Wednesday, waiting to return to the United States of America. He died at the airport. Reports are that he was in the JetBlue check-in area. TVJ News carried the news on Friday, and their reporter spoke to a relative of Mr. Smith.
71-year-old Leroy Smith visited Jamaica to bury his brother. On Wednesday, it was time to return home. His nephew carried him to the Sangster International Airport, but in a shocking turn of events, Mr. Smith collapsed near the check-in area. A representative from the airport then contacted his niece. She was told,
Mr. Smith had an accident and we need our family to come back to the airport. I asked what's happening. The person said she was unable to give me much information over the phone at the time, and that Mr. Smith had an accident. All she can tell is that he had an accident and he's on the floor.
She hung up and alerted the nephew, who transported Mr. Smith to the airport. When she called back the representative, she heard,
he's still on the floor and he's unconscious and they're going to perform CPR. Alright, so I said, don't you have an ambulance to rush him to the hospital? She said, the ambulance is on the way.
Based on the information, it seems to me that action was taken to assist Mr. Leroy Smith. Did Mr. Smith die shortly after he fell to the ground? Should the person who tried to resuscitate him should have left him alone and wait for the ambulance to arrive? How long the persons were trying to resuscitate him? Let us hear from this relative who spoke during TVJ News.
She made repeated calls for some 20 to 35 minutes. Still,
all I'm hearing is they're doing CPR and ambulance is on the way. And to the point where I'm like, are you telling me that there is nothing else that can be done? He's just on the floor like that?
Approaching 40 minutes, she called again, eager for an update. The update left her perplexed.
She said, I cannot disclose anything. We were doing CPR, they were doing CPR on him, and now they cover him up. Mr. Miss, what do you mean them cover him up? What that mean? Did he die?
Sadly, he did.
The news on TVJ went on to report of the press release from MBJ Airport Limited.
MBJ Airports Limited released a statement 2 days later saying the airport staff were alerted to a passenger in medical distress. It says emergency response protocols were immediately activated, with on-site medical personnel arriving within minutes. The airport said during that time, an ambulance was also called to the scene. The release doesn't say if or what time the ambulance would have arrived.
TVJ News spoke to Minister Darrell Vaz, the Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport.
Mr. Vaz has since requested a full report on the incident.
My report will be able to speak specifically to what happened because there are cameras there, CCTV cameras, and therefore everything should be to the second in relation from when the incident happened to when he was removed.
Mr. Vaz added that MBJ Airport has a contractual arrangement with Hospital in relation to medical services, which includes ambulances.
My understanding when I asked is that they have access to up to 7 ambulances, and the proximity from Hospital to Montego Bay Airport is not that far.
The St. James Public Health Services Parish Manager, Lennox Wallace, also commented on the incident.
I want to begin first for offering sincere condolences to the family of that gentleman. It's really an unfortunate situation, but we must set the record straight. The Coronary General Hospital has 4 spanking new ambulances that is operational at the moment. The last one was put in service just over 2 weeks ago. Those 4 ambulances is supported by another brand new ambulance that is at the St. James Health Department. A nurse is on site at that facility, I know very well. And she probably would have responded to that incident. But as far as I am aware, the ambulatory services at that facility, the Montego Bay Airport, is privatized. So we would seek to find out how they respond and what time they respond. That could have provided some amount of care immediately to that gentleman.
Based on the initial podcast, which I sent out, in which Celia Foster made certain statements, there are differences between press statements and those coming from MDJ Airport Limited and Minister Vaz. Let me make this point to the airline and the management of the Sangster International Airport. When we fail to communicate effectively, then rumors will circle the earth, possible 1,000 times, before the truth gets to put on its pants. It is now 3 days, and I have yet to get a response from those in authority and are connected to this case. The management of the airport and also the airline should have issued a press release soon after the incident. Commuters in Above Rocks are having challenges getting buses on that route. Let us listen to this citizen from the area.
We, the citizens of the Above Rocks area, via 53 route, are having problems with the buses. The minister sent out statements that there are buses on the routes, but Above Rocks area have problems getting buses. We have to be waiting on buses from an hour to up to 3 hours, and that is very bad for us. Yesterday we were at the bus stop for more than an hour before we get a bus. So we are asking for the minister to look at the 53 route for us. Thanks.
There is a development in the U.S. immigration matters. Let us hear from lawyer and realtor Opal Lee.
Anything new?
Right, there's an update. Remember last week I touched on the fact that the parole in place and there's an injunction in place that was supposed to expire September 14.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just got news yesterday that the judge has further extended it. So now the injunction is in place until September 23. So they've actually added another 2 weeks onto that. What that means is that the USCIS cannot approve any applications while this injunction is in place. So it's bad news for immigrants. And it looks like we're going to have and this is just a temporary injunction, but it looks to me that maybe the court is going to make a ruling on the matter maybe within a month or two to see whether or not it should stand still, Vernon, or if they should do away with it, which I am praying, hoping, keeping my fingers crossed, because I have so many clients and even so many people, immigrants, even Jamaicans, and from elsewhere, where they're dependent, really and truly depending on this to stay, to regularize their status and to have a fighting chance to finally get a green card. And just to remind your listeners, this is for people who entered the United States unlawfully and it's been over 10 years and they're married to a U.S. citizen, no criminal record. They could go ahead and what Biden administration has done, I said, you know what, let me use my executive powers and do a pathway for you guys here to get that green card. So even though you came in illegally, we're going to, you've been here for over 10 years, you do your contribution to society, no criminal record. Let's go ahead and give you a work permit. But an injunction has been placed because they're saying Biden did not have the authority or overstepped his authority. And what he did in their books was unlawful. So that's right now on hold.
There is an area of disturbance which is located at 11.8 degrees north and 42.9 degrees west. It is called Invest 92L. That's about 1,900 kilometers from the Eastern Caribbean. There is a 30% chance it will develop further within 2 days and a 50% chance it will develop further within 7 days. We should continue to watch this one. Thanks very much for watching Back the Truth News and Commentary with Vernon Darby. Help this channel to grow by hitting the subscribe button near to the end of this video. Share this video and also my Back the Truth blog and share it to as many persons as possible. Vernon Darby saying to you, I love you all. Walk good, my friend.